All right, let's get this meeting to come to order. State your name and title for the minutes.
Chelsea, City Zoning Officer.
Monica, Public Health Officer.
Lionel Jacobs, Chief Industry Advisor.
And I'm Tabitha, head of the Tinkerton Town Council. Now then, let's begin. This meeting was called by Monica concerning what exactly?
Thank you, Miss Tabitha. I've been doing some research on the health and welfare of our population over the last 40 years, and the findings have been disturbing.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you've been doing your job, but I don't see what this has to do with me or, for that matter, anyone else around this table.
Your complaint has been noted, Lionel. Please continue, Monica.
Thank you. You will see that starting in 1982, our overall health in this sector has dropped significantly, especially in these neighborhoods.
Excuse me?
The meeting recognizes Chelsea.
Yeah, it's me.
You had a question?
Yeah, you're pointing at a lot of charts and saying a lot of fancy things. But could you make it a little easier to understand?
Okay. I've been looking at our city, and I've noticed that a lot of people are getting sick. More sick than they used to. And the people who have been getting the sickest are the ones that live nearest to these factories in this neighborhood.
Oh, that makes sense.
So why are they getting sick?
I can only assume it's because of the pollution in the air, the water, and the land.
So, pollution in general.
Oh, boy. Look, our industry is important to the town. It's where we make money, not to mention useful things for the rest of the country. If you shut us down, you'll regret it.
I don't think anyone said you need to shut anything down.
Sure, nobody said it, but we all know that's how this all ends.
Do you want to shut down the factories, Monica?
Not really. I just think that something should be done about all the smoke and the waste that's polluting the streams and the forest and pretty much everything.
I second that.
Well, let's adjourn and reconvene in half an hour.
What?
She means we'll take a break and meet up in 30 minutes.
Oh, why are we taking a break?
I don't know. To think of how to fix the problems and come up with plans?
Or listen to Paws and Tails?
Or that, I guess. So what do you think, Miss Tabitha?
It looks great, Monica! I can see you've really been working hard on this.
Yeah. What is it?
It's a display for the science fair at school, Chelsea.
I thought kids just made model volcanoes and airplanes for science fairs.
Those are common, but the real idea behind a science fair project is that kids study something and then show what they've learned.
Well, no offense, Monica, but this looks like a lot of garbage taped to a piece of cardboard.
That's because I did my project on pollution, mostly littering. I spent a whole month picking up garbage along the road I live on and writing down my findings.
Okay, but why?
Duh, my science project?
Okay, but what does this have to do with science?
Actually, that's what science is, Chelsea. Anytime someone writes down things they notice about the world around them, that's what's called data. And data is what we use to discover new things scientifically.
Yeah, by keeping track of how much garbage there is over a month, I can look for patterns and look for ways to fix the litter problem.
Litter problem?
Yeah, you know, garbage going everywhere, making things ugly, dirty, and dangerous.
That sounds pretty dramatic.
So what did you find?
Something very interesting. You see here, right after I cleaned up, it took a while for people to start throwing garbage here again.
So cleaning up stops people from littering?
I'm not sure, but it's an interesting pattern.
Almost as if when there is garbage, people think it's okay to litter, and when there isn't, they tend not to.
That's what I was wondering. That's why I bring it up in my paper.
Oh, would you mind if I read it?
Sure.
Okay, well, while you two read about garbage, I'm actually going to have fun and listen to the radio.
So what do you think, Miss Tabitha? Is it a good paper?
It looks good to me, Monica. I'm sure your teacher will love it.
Okay, can I ask a question about all of this?
Sure, Chelsea. What's up?
You guys have been talking about this litter project like it's super exciting. No offense, but it is literally garbage. Aren't there more important things to do science fair projects on?
I guess, but litter is a big problem, as my project proves.
Okay, so your street has a lot of garbage. Big deal.
Actually, it kind of is a big deal, Chelsea. Taking care of the earth is one of the biggest jobs God gave us.
What? You're making that up.
Not at all. When God made people, he set them to work, caring for the rest of creation, taking dominion over it, and being good stewards.
Stewards?
We're supposed to be butlers?
Not quite. A steward is a person who takes care of property for someone else.
Like what?
Well, like this radio here. This radio doesn't belong to me.
Yeah, it's Mr. Jacob's radio.
Right, but he's letting me use it for Sunday school tomorrow. While I'm using it, I've got to be careful with it. But without it, my class wouldn't quite be as exciting. If I use the radio and return it in good shape, then I have shown that I've been a good steward of Mr. Jacob's radio, and he'll probably let me use it again.
So what does this have to do with garbage?
Just like this radio doesn't belong to me, this world doesn't really belong to us. God gave it to us to use and to live on, but it still belongs to him. So we need to make sure that we take really good care of it.
Which means not making it full of trash.
Huh.
What's the matter, Monica?
I was just thinking, I don't think there's a single thing that I have that God didn't give me. I mean, God gave me my body, my brain, and muscles.
So we need to take care of those too?
That's right, Chelsea. Any ideas of how we can take care of those?
Well, we can get exercise and eat good foods.
And take baths and get checkups.
Those are good for the body, but how about our minds?
Doing puzzles.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do. I have another thing in mind, though.
I give up.
Don't give up. Try to guess.
Come on, Miss Tabitha. You know we aren't gonna get it. You might as well just save the time.
You know what? Mr. Jacobs gave me a script for tomorrow that might just shed some light on this situation. Let me go get it.
And we'll listen to the radio while we wait.
And now, from the garage of Lionel Jacobs comes the brilliant drama, The Cat and the Cheese, an adapted biblical passage about wisdom. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a cat.
I'm not just any cat. I'm the royal guard to the cat's kingdom cupboards.
Oh yes, did we mention this faraway land was ruled by cats?
Sorry if you're allergic. Not much we can do about that.
This particular cat's job was to guard the royal kitchen's storehouses, specifically the cheese cabinet.
Did you say cheese?
I did indeed.
I love cheese, and I am, after all, a mouse. And you know, if the shoe fits, wear it.
And so the mouse approached the royal cheese cabinet.
Halt! You may not pass.
And who are you?
I am the royal guard cat of the cabinet of cheese, and I have strict orders to defend it from anyone who isn't a cat.
Are you saying I'm not a cat?
Come on, obviously you're a mouse.
Really? Of all the nerve, do cats have tails?
Yeah?
Do cats have silky fur?
Sure,
Do cats have whiskers?
I guess.
How about teeth? You got those too, right?
I mean, yeah.
Well, I do too. That means I am a cat. And you can let me pass.
But you're a mouse.
How can that be? We just agreed that I'm a cat.
The guard was very confused. It was true that the creature before her had fur and whiskers and teeth and a tail just like her. Was she crazy? It seemed so wrong, but the logic was undeniable.
Okay, you promise you're a cat?
Without reservation.
Well, come on in then.
Wonderful.
What happened next? I'm sure you can guess. The mouse ate all the cheese she could find. And soon she was inviting her friends and family to join her in the feast.
Come on in. The pepper jacket's great.
Soon there wasn't a scrap of cheese to be found. The guard cat was stunned.
I don't understand. How could this have happened? I only let cats in.
What a chump.
The moral is, Our hearts and minds are great gifts from God, and He tells us to be careful with the kinds of things we let in. We need to use wisdom to tell the good from the bad, because if we don't, we can end up looking like someone who can't tell a cat from a mouse. Many times, lies, rumors, or even things that sound like good advice are trying to sneak their way in and distract us from loving God and doing what He has told us to do. Need help packing up your science fair display, Monica?
That'd be great. Thanks, Miss Tabitha.
No problem.
While you guys are packing that up, can I ask a question?
I don't have much time to answer more questions about my project, Chelsea. If you want to learn more about it, you can read my report.
Okay, first off, I can't read very well yet, and second, it wasn't about your project. I was going to ask about the other thing we've been learning about.
Oh, you mean stewardship? Taking care of what God gave us?
Yeah, but mostly about the moral to the story about the cat and the mouse.
I guess I can explain some more. What did you want to know, Chelsea?
You said that we need to use wisdom to know what is good and what is bad, and to only let the good stuff into our minds and hearts. It sounds good, but how do we do that?
That's a great question, and there are a few places in the Bible that give us some instructions.
Like what?
Well, in 2 Timothy 2, God tells us to not argue or gossip about the things that the world argues about. He tells us to instead make sure that our words and the things we do need to be loving and kind. Sure, we need to tell people when they're doing what is wrong, but out of kindness, trying to help others to get closer to God.
Okay, that sounds like good advice. But what's that got to do with Chelsea's question?
Well, it's guarding our hearts and our minds against things that make us unuseful for God's work. If we're too busy gossiping or arguing about stuff the rest of the world argues and gossips about, how are we supposed to be able to make a difference?
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, what else does the Bible say?
I think it's 1 John 4 that talks about how we need to double check the things that we're taught against what God says about Himself. Back in Bible times, and even today, there's a lie going around that says that Jesus was not sent to earth by God.
That's definitely not true.
Pretty sure that's what lies are. Things that aren't true.
You're both right. And this passage in the Bible tells us that we need to make sure that when we're taught something, we need to test it.
Test? Like in school?
More like a light bulb. If a light bulb doesn't turn on when you flip the switch, then it's no good. In the same way, if what someone is teaching goes against God's truth, then it's no good either, no matter who is teaching it.
Okay, so those are the things that we have to keep out of our hearts and our minds. Are we supposed to put anything in there?
Definitely. Philippians 4, 8 through 9 tells us that we want to think about things that are true and pure, noble and right, lovely, excellent, and basically anything that is worth saying good things about. If we keep these things in mind and what's more, do them, then we will live with God's peace.
That sounds like a good list. With all that stuff in your life, there wouldn't be much room for anything bad.
That's the idea.
I'm going to have to think about all of that.
Well, yeah, that's what the Bible verse just said.
I meant this was a lot to learn. It's going to take me some time to understand it all.
I think that's true for most of us, Chelsea.
Yeah, well, I better get going. I need to get my project to the school.
Can I come too?
Why? You thought my project was boring.
But you're going to set it up at the school, and there might be a model volcano there.
Sure, come on. See you later, Miss Tabitha.
Bye, girls. Want to turn off the radio on your way out?
I've got it.